People, Gil here once again. We'll talk about a few upgrades I did to my Syma X8C, which is currently named Badaboom. You know, that's kind of the name that fit for me. Big Badaboom. She's such a big quad. Um, First of all, I'd like to talk about the paint job. I did it in a marigold yellow. I call it mustard. The can says marigold. I just kind of like the way it looked. I've seen a few RC planes in this color, and I said, yeah, I think my quad will look good in that color. So I went ahead and did it, and I also painted the tips of the props, also the little caps here, and the homemade landing skids that I made. Those are done also in the same yellow. Just makes it look better, a little better orientation in the air. I took a little more electrical tape and replaced the original stripes with the electrical tape. I also put like a little H, came out looking like an H. That wasn't the intended purpose, but you know, makes it a lot better to see when it's in the air, determine which is front and which is back. So that came out pretty well. And as I said, I also did the little homemade skids here in yellow, and like I said, it came out pretty cool. Second thing I did was I upgraded the landing gear to the DJI type legs, which is much better, as you can see, for the spacing of the camera. That way, once you're in the air, you know, you won't have props in your footage. You know, it all depends on the angle of your camera too. You know, sometimes it's just completely unavoidable. Also, along with the landing gear, I made some homemade skids, which you're actually going to need, because if you're going to have these type of legs on your quad, you're definitely going to need some skids. And these are basically just hacked up coat hangers that I pretty much sanded down at the edge and secured to the landing gear with electrical tape very securely. So that's not going to go anywhere, you know. Normally it would fall over as easy as I don't know what. So that worked out very well. The third thing I did was I opened her up once again, and I soldered this wire to the original antenna, electrical taped it to the landing gear here, and that increased the range a lot. I've taken her up a few times, pretty high, and the range has increased a lot. I don't take her up too high. I'm just not that adventurous yet. So that was a pretty good one. The next one was I doubled up the washers. Each of these propellers come with little metal washers on the inside. And what I did is I took the washers from the extra props and I doubled them up here, which made it for a lot tighter fit for the props. And actually there's no vibration when she's spinning, which actually made her a little bit quieter and allowed for a better lift if I'm going straight up. The next thing I did was I added these spotlights. Now these are just simple little dollar store reading lights. I'm going to pop one out, and this is the way they come in the store. Come with these little clips. I guess you put them on your book or, you know, whatever you're reading, and, you know, it'll help you out in the dark. So what I did was I took this apart, and it actually grips together like this. I took the top half, separated it from the bottom, threw this top half away. I kept the part with the ball joint socket, and I took some sandpaper, I think it was a knife, and I filed down the edges just narrow enough for it to fit inside of the leg. See, it actually, this hollow is hollow on the other side of the leg here. So I actually filed it down so it could slide right in there, and then I held it in place with electrical tape. And it's there secured. Believe me, it's not going anywhere. That worked out pretty well. So all I do is pop that ball joint in, turn my lights on, and I'm good to go. And that's excellent for night orientation. You know, not the brightest lights in the world, but they work really well. The next thing I did was I reversed the lights. On this particular quad, I didn't really like the red lights in the front and the green lights in the back, like with most Chinese quadcopters. And I just basically opened her up and switched the lights around. It was pretty easy. You unplug them from one spot and plug them up again in another spot. And it actually came out looking, you know, pretty well. And now I have the green lights in the front, and I have the red lights in the back, you know, and that worked out pretty well. Let me turn that back off. Let's see. I think this might be lastly. I think this is the last thing here, was the camera mount. Let me just take that off. So you have your little snap lock track here that comes with the original camera. And what I did is I took the original camera, and before I did anything else, I threw the original camera away because, as we all know, it was, you know, really crappy. You know, unfortunately, it was nice of them to put that on there, but, you know, it was a crappy camera nonetheless. And what I did was the snap lock that actually held, oops, there we go, that actually held the original camera in place. I detached that from the original camera. As you can see, I unscrewed it, and I crazy glued it to this bicycle helmet mount. I bought a action cam, and it comes with a lot of accessories, about 21 different accessories. And I took the helmet cam mount, and I took the snap lock from the original, from this quad, and crazy glued it onto the adhesive sponge that sticks onto your helmet. And it actually doubles as a dampener. So because it's a sponge, it eliminates jello and, you know, vibrations from the camera. And actually, I just crazy glued it on there. And now, instead of the original camera snapping on, I can snap my action camera on, you know. And that actually worked out really, really well. So those were just some of the upgrades I did to my Syma X8C, aka Badaboom, Big Badaboom. And I hope you like it. And this was Gil here, and I'm gonna try to put a little, maybe 1.5, 2-minute footage of me going up in my, over my cul-de-sac here. So hopefully that video will come through. But thanks guys for your time. I really appreciate it. Hopefully these upgrades will give someone else an idea. I like to share any little ideas I might come up with. That way, you know, anyone coming behind me can say, hey, that's a good idea. Let me try that, and hopefully it'll work for you, you know. But until next time, this is Gil. Thank you once again for your time, and everyone be safe out there. Bye-bye.